Hello everyone, welcome to the When It Worked podcast. You're with your host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Elena Pastore, Michael Morgan and Steve Gamlin. Welcome guests. How did I go with your surname? I should have checked this. Everyone's name's correct?
Yes.
A-okay. Alright, we're going to play Jeopardy. Let's go. Let's do the next round. Okay, so the categories are US cities, engineering, English literature, food, generals, and zoology. And Steve, the vision extraordinaire on the left, you can kick things off. What category would you like, Steve?
US cities for 200, please.
US cities for 200. Ice cream cones and iced tea were both introduced at this Missouri City's 1904 World's Fair.
What is St. Louis?
St. Louis. I always thought it was St. Louis. St. Louis, it is. Well done. Steve, you're in control. What would you like?
US cities 400, please.
US cities 400. This Hollywood features dog racing and a beach boardwalk.
What is Santa Anita?
Anyone else want to jump in? Is there another Hollywood with a beach? Come on, Elena.
What is Florida?
Let's take a look. Florida is correct. Elena has wrestled control away from Steve. What would you like, Elena?
Oh gosh, I can't see it because it's too pixelated and I
okay.
can't remember what they say.
We've got US cities, engineering, English literature, food, generals, and zoology.
Okay, let's do food for 400.
Food for 400. From the Romanian word for to preserve, it's served hot with mustard on rye. Get them in New York bodegas. There's one in New York, and it's like so jam packed with this, and you just think, I'm going to have a heart attack after I eat this.
Can anyone jump in?
Yes.
What is pastrami?
Let's take a look. Pastrami's correct. Here comes Michael Morgan, not the famous rugby league player, but someone famous in his own right. Go, Michael.
I'll do U.S. cities for 600.
U.S. cities for 600. Columbia, capital of this southern state, had no paved roads until 1908. Columbia is capital of...
What is South Carolina?
Is it? Is there anyone want to jump in? No? I thought it was Ohio, but I think that might be Columbus. Let's take a look. South Carolina is correct. Michael obviously knows America more than I do. Well done, Michael.
I'll stick with U.S. cities for 800.
U.S. cities 800, home of the Air Force Academy. It has over 300 days of sunshine yearly. Air Force Academy. Is this where Tom Cruise did all his training?
What is Denver?
Denver. Let's take a look. Colorado Springs. You were just around the corner. I'd almost give that to you, Michael, but I won't. Sorry. Still in control. What would you like?
Let's finish the U.S. cities for 1,000.
U.S. cities 1,000. During World War I, Germany torpedoed U.S. ships within sight of this Virginia's largest resort. This Virginia, one of the Virginias. One with a coastline. Do they both have coastlines? Is this thing on?
Yeah.
All right, no idea. I've got tumbleweeds. It is Virginia. What does it say? Virginia Beach. Just Virginia Beach. Okay, you're still in control. Michael Morgan.
Let's do foods for 600.
Foods for 600. When it was first introduced into England from France, it was called Margarine. Ah. Kind of like that I can't believe it's not thing. How do I know this? Nobody else does. We don't even have it. Starts with an M.
What is margarine?
Elena. I like it. Let's take a look. Margarine is correct. Well done, Elena Pastore. You're in control.
Let's do English lit for 200.
English literature for 200. The author of The Jungle Book lived in Vermont for 4 years. Vermont, sorry.
I should know this, but I don't.
Is it right in your neighborhood? Anybody?
Where I used to live, yeah.
Where you used to live. Jump in if you've got the answer. Oh, hang on. We just want the author of Jungle Book, not Vermont. We're not on cities anymore, sorry. I'm giving lots of bum steers. Who wrote the Jungle Book? All I can see is that little brown kid and an elephant. I don't see anything else in my brain. All right, let's take a look. It is Rudyard Kipling, of course. Well, not of course. I didn't know. You're still in control, though, Elena. What would you like?
Let's do 400 English lit.
English lit. Somebody did English lit at high school, I think. Aldous Huxley's 1932 version of 1984. It's kind of a dystopian, futuristic world. Bit of a clue there.
What is a new world?
Ooh! Just give me one more.
What is a brave new world?
What is Brave New World?
I'll be honest with you. Our man just jumped in there with the brave and corrected himself. Should we give it to him? Let's have a poll. Or should we give it to Elena? Come on.
He can take it.
He can take it. Look, what an absolutely fantastic sportsman Elena is. She gets a special award, which will be fictional, but it'll still mean something. All right, continuing on. Let's go, Steve.
English literature for 600, please.
English literature for 600. James Hilton's schoolmaster father was the model for this novel's title character. Don't know who James Hilton is. Obviously. So, I'm going to go with something like Tom Sawyer or... No, I don't know. Let's take a look. It is Mr. Chips. Anyone heard of Mr. Chips? He sounds like a fun guy. All right. Still in control, Steve?
Food for 200, please.
Food for 200. Herbs anise and fennel, I think it's pronounced, resemble the flavour of this common black candy. Oh, my mum used to eat it, and I used to think it was gross.
What is licorice?
Licorice from Steve. Well done. And it used to give me the runs as well. Too much information. Steve, you're in control.
Foods for 800, please.
Foods for 800. Named for an English doctor who recommended meat as a cure-all. It's a hamburger without a bun. English doctor giving everyone meat. What's a hamburger without a bun? Oh, you know, one time I got this at a restaurant. I think it's this. And I didn't read it properly, and it said burger. And they came out, it was a fancy restaurant, and I had a bowl with just a meat patty in it, raw. Do you know what that's called, that raw meat patty? I tell you what, I felt like such an idiot. I sent it back to the kitchen, and the chef must have just scoffed. And I was such an uncultured Australian bogan, or redneck, who you would know as. But anyway, let's continue on. What is Salisbury steak? No, it's not the one I was thinking of. Never mind. Continuing on. Steve, what would you like?
Food for 1,000, please.
I've got a speak list, don't I? Food for 1,000. Not a fabric, but a cake that's a cross between an angel and a sponge. Why did they say not a fabric? Cross between an angel and a sponge. The only cake I know would be a sponge
Can I go?
cake. All right.
What is angel food cake?
Would you say angel?
Food cake.
Angel food cake. Let's take a look. It is called a chiffon.
Oh, chiffon.
Chiffon, sorry.
I
Once
should've-
again, I'm
yeah.
my uncultured. I've never heard of a chiffon. All right. Now
Really?
who's in control? Julian's not.
That's
Steve's
fine.
in control. What would you like?
Engineering for 200, please.
Engineering 200, used as early as 230 BC. The first successful electric one was developed by the Otis brothers in 1889.
What is an elevator?
Elevator, wow, that's a good answer. Elevator is correct. Well done, Steve. I think I've seen that on elevators, you know, the little logo. You're in control. What would you like?
Engineering for 400, please.
Engineering 400, begun by Appius Claudius as a public work in 312 BC. It's one of the roads that lead to Rome. It's probably in England or something where they did a lot of road works. Bit of a tough question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look. It is the Upland Way. Steve, what would you like?
Mineral, is that generals at the end? Second from the
yeah,
end?
Generals is
Okay,
second from the
a
end,
little
military
pixelated.
generals.
Generals for 200, please.
Let's take a look. Presidents Hayes, Garfield, and Benjamin Harrison were all generals in this war. Must have been a long one if they all were in that war.
What is the War of 1812?
The War of 1812. Anyone else want to have a guess?
What is World War II?
The Civil War. Is that the War of 1812? Yeah?
No.
No, it's not. Okay.
40 years later.
Okay. Close. You're still in control, Steve. What would you like?
Generals 400, please.
Generals for 400. General who told Congress in 1951, there's no substitute for victory.
Who is Eisenhower?
General Eisenhower. Okay. Anybody else? I think I might know this one. Who's the famous general from World War II that successfully beat the hell out of the Nazis? I'm going to go with MacArthur. Let's take a look. What does it say? MacArthur is correct. Incredible, I got one right. But it doesn't matter, I'm not playing. Still in control, Steve?
General 600, please.
Generals for 600. Generals Lee, Grant, Sherman, Pershing, and Patton have all had a type of these named for them.
What is a tank?
The old Sherman tank is correct. Well done, Steve. Got vision. He's
Generals
got vision.
for... Thank you. Generals for 800, please.
Generals for 800. Old Fuss and Feathers. General Winfield Scott captured this foreign capital in 1847. Foreign capital. What were they doing? Who were they invading? Maybe they were taking a bit of Mexico. That was a bit too much. I don't know if that's right. Don't listen to me. Or did they have a bit of a beef in Canada, or... I can't imagine
Probably
they went
not.
anywhere else. Let's take a look. Mexico City. Well, nobody said it. What would you like, Steve?
Zoology for 200, please.
Zoology for 200. The only mammal capable of sustained flight. Okay, ready for a monster clue? What was that, Michael?
What is a bird?
Incorrect. Here comes a clue. It was rumored to have triggered COVID. bat was the answer.
It was a bat?
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
I had to be quick there because I gave you a clue.
Yep.
All right, you're still in control, I believe.
Zoology 400, please.
Zoology 400. Of a rat, a raven, and a spineless jellyfish, the one can be taught to count. A rat, raven, or a spineless jellyfish, which one can count? Can't imagine.
What
a
is a
jellyfish
rat?
Counting rat. Sounds like a good answer. Anybody else want to have a guess?
What is a raven?
Actually, I won't do that because then it narrows it down to one other possibility. Else I just said the jellyfish is not the one. Let's take a look. It is a raven, but I won't give you points there, unfortunately.
Nope, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, you're still in control, though.
Zoology for 600.
Zoology for 600. A lunar moths are feathered, a June bugs leaf-like, and a cockroaches are feelers.
What are wings?
Let's take a look. Antennae is the answer. What would you like, Steve?
Zoology for 800.
You guys should just jump in if you know the answer. Since 1956, ultrasonic vibrations have repelled these crusty creatures from ship hulls.
What are barnacles?
Barnacles, sounds good to me. Is correct. Well done, Steve. What would you like?
Zoology for 1,000.
Zoology for 1,000, often called the panther. Its name was originally given to the cat, now known as the cheetah. This is weird.
What is a leopard?
That's what I thought. I know they used to always call panthers leopards, but I didn't know a cheetah was a leopard. Let's take a look. Leopard is correct according to my never wrong answers. Well done. Elena, what would you like?
Let's do English literature 800.
English literature 800. The heroes Clubfoot in of human bondage represented this author's stammer. Goodness me, that was a mouthful. The heroes Clubfoot in of human bondage represented this author's stammer. What was that book about a guy with a dodgy foot? And it was Daniel Day-Lewis made a movie about it. Oh no, but that's not the hero. This hero with a club foot. I don't know. I was thinking of My Left Foot, which was a movie with a guy with a dodgy foot. Anyway, let's take a look. This Somerset Morn. Okay. Well, pretty obscure English literature titles. Maybe. Still in control, Elena. What would you like? Engineering, English literature, or generals?
Let's round out English lit.
English lit. Ironically, Catherine, wife of this poet, painter, and printer, was illiterate. She probably wasn't allowed to go to school. Catherine, wife of this poet, painter, and printer, was illiterate. I'm going to go with one of the Ninja Turtles was named after him.
It was Michelangelo.
Oh, good answer. Or Leonardo. Let's take a look. Of course, it is William Blake. These questions are really tough. All right, you're still in control, Elena. These are actual Jeopardy questions, by the way.
Engineering 600.
Engineering 600, type of well named for the French region of Artois or Artois, where one was first drilled in 1126. Type of well named for a French region, Art something.
What is an artesian well?
Yeah, so that was my little clue. I just occurred to me what it was. Well done, Steve. What would you like?
I was going to say Stella.
Engineering 800, please.
Engineering 800. A 1984 survey found an additional 2,500 miles to this barrier, now totaling 6,200 miles long. So they found an extra 2,500 miles to some engineering barrier, and it's now said to be 6,200 miles. What's the big ass barrier that people built?
What is the Great Wall of China?
Yes, that'd be the one I'd have to say.
Wow.
Great Wall of China. It wasn't old Trumpy's little dinky wall. Continuing on, or shouldn't talk about Trump. Anyway, you're in control, Steve.
Engineering for 1,000.
Engineering for 1,000. This 15th century artist built fortresses, bridges, harbours, and locks.
Who was Leonardo da Vinci?
Leonardo. I was thinking DiCaprio. Let's take a look. Leonardo da Vinci. It was not Leo DiCaprio. You're still in control. Last question. Let's take a look. With under 200 men, this Revolutionary War general captured 3 British forts in Illinois and Indiana. He would have been some sort of just famous kick-ass general from the Civil War who just handed the Brits their asses.
Who was Washington?
Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. What does that say? George
Nope.
Rogers Clark. Yeah, somebody told me George Washington was a maniac soldier and he had wooden teeth or something. Is this correct?
Yes.
Wow, interesting. There you go. Let's take a look at the scores. We've got Steve on 4,800, Michael on 1,000, Elena on 2,000. Let's have a round of applause for our fantastic guests. And the applause is not working. There it is. Okay. Great round of applause. Thank you very much. Well played. All right, Steve, let's find out about everything you're up to. We talked about the shirt, Got Vision, and you're into getting all of your visions or direction, dreams, goals into something physical like a vision board. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a deeper dive into goal setting. You know, a lot of people say, I want this, and then you ask people, what does it look like, feel like, sound like, smell like, taste like? So the work I do with people as a speaker and as a coach is to help people to understand and connect all their senses to their goals to increase the odds that they'll be aware when the opportunities show up to get a little bit closer to it. So it's a big thing. And a lot of people say, oh, I made a vision board once. It had a Lamborghini, a yacht, a mansion, a private jet, a big honking gold watch, a helicopter, and a bank vault full of gold bars. And that's a great letter to Santa Claus. But for me, it's a much deeper emotional dive in determining what you really, really want. As the Spice Girls would say, what do you really, really want in life?
Yes. Well, I'm not going to answer that because that would be weird. Yeah. So tell us about some of the I get what you're saying, and people put up these kind of, like 14-year-old me goals on their vision board. What are some of the things that you like to work with people to give it more meaning?
To help them understand that it's not just work-life balance that a lot of people say, I just need work-life. Well, work is one, and life is a combination of 7 other areas called your physical health, your emotional well-being, your closest relationships, the core values that guide everything you do, your faith and spirituality, if that's an important part of your life, your connection to people in a real way, and your finances. So my biggest thing is to help people understand that all of these 8 areas of life are happening inside of us and outside of us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So wouldn't it be a good idea to be more aware of that in your goal setting? So it's not just so much what you want to get, but who you want to become in the process, the best version of you.
Steve, something I would not want to do is hit golf balls in a thunderstorm. Apparently, this was a significant event for you. Tell us about this.
Yeah, that was August of 2003 at a particularly low point in my life. I had just walked away from a successful 10-year radio career, went through a divorce, was tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and had to crawl home and live with family for a little while to put it all back together. And on a very low day of self-loathing and just hating what I'd done to my life, I had $3 left in my pocket on a very hot and humid Friday afternoon. And I decided to take it out on a bucket of golf balls. And being a horrible golfer, I went to the farthest tee box at this particular property, right up against the netting, so I wouldn't dent any cars in the parking lot.
Oh, I do.
And I was underneath
so
these.
Can look at me because my swing is so bad.
But that's the other part is horrible. But I was underneath these steel power lines, and a thunderstorm came through. It was thunder, lightning, wind, rain. It was a really nasty storm, and everybody except for me ran from the storm, and I just kind of held my club up. And just sarcastically, I was not mad at God. Some people have accused me of that. I just looked up and said, go ahead, I dare you. And I hit my bucket and the buckets of two guys that ran from the storm and never came back. And at the end of the hour, I couldn't even lift my arms. I got to my car, opened my door, and the rain stopped and the sun came out, and I just started laughing. And the next day I was talking to a life coach, and he said, how was your week? And I just told him the story of that hour, as funny as I could make it sound, pathetic, but funny. And when he stopped laughing, he asked, have you ever thought of being a motivational speaker or a stand-up comedian? I think you'd be really good at both. And what he didn't know is I'd wanted to do them both since I was 11 years old.
And did you do them from there, or?
Yeah. 2 weeks later, I was in my first stand-up comedy class. And a week after that, my first Toastmasters meeting to help me develop stage stories and presence and confidence and all of that. I did stand-up comedy for 7 years. And this summer will be 20 years since I started speaking.
Yeah, stand-up comedy, and also Toastmasters is that debating, like a debating club? I always think, or is it more just public speaking?
It's more of a public speaking and style and confidence and to work on your skills. And it's a great place. It's the greatest toolbox I think I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
Great place to go and just establish your craft and your confidence and your messaging and your storytelling and your voice and everything.
And yeah, and being able to speak on your feet. I mean, the stand-up comedy, you definitely get some skills there. Otherwise, you'll get destroyed every night. And you've got a phrase, motivational firewood. Tell us about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been my brand now for about 19 years. And it started off at a meeting of the National Speakers Association of New England. And one of my coaches suggested I go there. And I went, everybody else has these nice, beautiful, fancy lanyards. And I've got one of those stickers that says, hi, my name is, and I just wrote Steve and slapped it on my chest. And a guy named Don came over and he welcomed me to the meeting. And he said, so Steve, what sets you apart as a speaker? And I said, I want to motivate people. He said, we all do. What makes you different? And for about 3 to 5 minutes, I just kept giving these just vague answers. I couldn't quite get out what made me different. And finally, I just threw my hands up and I said, Don, look, if people are paying to hear me speak, it means they've got a goal or a challenge in their life and they can't quite get through it themselves. So if I share a story, a tip, a tactic, a lesson, or something that they wake up the next day and they do something with it, I said, it's like I gave them a piece of motivational firewood they could add their spark to. And he snapped his fingers. He goes, that's it right there. He said, go see about trademarking that. He goes, that's very unique. But my favorite part was how you just lit up when you said that. He said, young man, don't ever doubt yourself. He said, that's really something. So stick with it. And it's been 19 years of that so far.
Awesome. And I love phrases like that, which sort of summarize in a nutshell the messaging that you're trying to get across. That's so powerful. Things like that, just because people understand immediately the concept. And what type of people do you work with, Steve?
Age-wise, it's about 35 to 60. And the biggest question for a lot of people is, especially during COVID, during the pandemic, so many people were just looking around at their lives saying, oh my God, this is it. They're looking to create the next level of themselves, the next version of themselves, a happier, more content version of themselves. So a lot of the people that are, fell for the old thing of get out of school, get a good job with a good company, with good benefits, put your head down for 45 years and retire with a good pension for your golden years. A lot of people aren't inspired by that anymore. So what I do is work with people to figure out what their favorite version of themselves could be and to start taking steps toward that.
And what's the first step if people jump on your website? What do? Do they book a call with you and you have a chat to them?
Yeah, you can book a call with me, or there's a page there that has a free video that I call Visualize in 5 for people that think all the visualization stuff is very woo-woo. It's a short 8.5-minute video, and it talks about 5 of the very basic steps of how to understand visualization. And I made it 8.5 minutes long so people can watch it between snooze buttons in the morning when they are thinking about getting their day started.
Yeah, it's going to be bite-sized. And the visualization stuff, I mean, if you've ever felt, when you're in a slump, just say if you don't have a coach or mentor or anything like that, but getting some visualization, I guarantee you, if you even like I will write things down. That's how I do it. But if you just get into that practice of putting it down on paper, how do you do it, Steve? You do it like on a big board, or?
I do have a vision board, but I write things daily as well. That's where I start to script out the ideas for what I want to put on my vision board. Is I do a lot of looking inward and a lot of just evaluating what is the ultimate version of my life in this category or this category. Who's out there that already has it that I can emulate a little bit, maybe get some clues from. And then what would it look like, feel like, sound like, smell like, taste like? And that's how I eventually get through a lot of writing and introspection. The actual pictures that I'll put on my board.
I gotcha. From there, awesome. Yeah, no, it's great stuff. Do the writing, and you can't do it on your computer either. I find you got to get a pen and paper. That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, if you are stuck and you want to start to crystallize some direction, ideas, etc., have a chat with Steve and get some vision happening. And you help people all over the world, or do you do it locally?
I do. Matter of fact, because my program is now digital, it's available online. One of my very first clients for the Vision Board Mastery Program is in Australia. And he sent me a picture. He says, here's my favorite place. And he had a picture of a beach. He lived near the coast. And he had my program sitting in the sand at the beach. So that's the farthest my program has gone so far, is halfway around the world. So
wow.
It's
just
good.
Everyone lives near the coast down here. Otherwise you would die.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much. Let's have a round of applause for Steve Gamlin. That was excellent stuff. And
thank you.
Michael V. Morgan. You've got to have the V in there because people will get you confused with somebody else if you're in this part of the world. Anyway, Michael, you've had a very successful career in the cutthroat corporate world across various different companies. Tell us a little bit about how you managed to survive and thrive.
Yeah. I've had quite an extensive career. I've had the opportunity to work for Amazon, Walmart, JP Morgan, Chevron. So I've navigated it across financial services, tech, retail, oil and gas. The key component that's helped me be successful in my career is networking. I actually just published my first book called The Power of Networking, where I get into details on how to build and maintain relationships, the impact and benefits it will have on your professional career, the impacts in your personal life. I dive into details on interviewing tips, how to overcome workplace challenges. So not only is my book available on all platforms, but I'm also doing public speaking similar to Steve. So doing speaking engagements for universities, for organizations, for companies. So I'm available for different speaking opportunities. My website's michaelvmorgan.com. So if anyone has any opportunities or want to reach out, feel free to go on my website.
Hey, Michael, what's your book called? There it is, The Power of Networking. And networking is a superpower. And the question I've got for you, Michael, you mentioned in the book you talk about not only creating the relationship, how do you maintain contact with people that you've met at a networking event?
Yeah, I think that's, to me, the most critical part. It's very easy to make a new connection. It's difficult to maintain it. So I reach out to people depending on my relationship with them. I may reach out to them quarterly. I may reach out to them annually. I may reach out to them on a monthly basis. But I think it's that regular engagement, whether it's phone calls, it's text messages, it's messaging through social media. In my opinion, nothing beats face-to-face, in-person interaction. So I think that's critical whenever possible, meeting with person face-to-face. And then part of networking is a two-way street. It's giving and getting. You have to emphasize the give. So if you have a good relationship with somebody and you know something that may be of value to them, maybe you identify an article they can read. Maybe you identify a training course that may be beneficial for them. Maybe you identify a job opportunity they may be a good fit for. Those are all opportunities to reach out to your network and continue to engage them. So you continue to have conversation with them over time, as opposed to you make a connection, you don't talk to that person for 5 years, 10 years, and then you reach out to them. That's not a good networking. Yeah,
it sounds like me a little bit. I've got to work on that. Yeah, that's a very, very good. Networking is something I'm very much focused on in improving, I guess. And I'm also very interested in if you could tell me what it's like working for a mega a multinational like Amazon or Walmart, what was that like? What departments did you work in, and what are the differences between the two?
Yeah, to me it's fun because you work for such a big company. It's easy to move around to different teams, different organizations, get to see different parts of the business. So Amazon's example, I worked on Amazon Web Services, I worked in Amazon Business, I worked on Amazon Retail. They're completely different businesses. It's like it's almost like starting a brand new company within the same company. So you get to learn so many different things, get to navigate. I get to work on global initiatives. Because of the initiatives I worked on, I was able to travel to Europe, to Asia, to different countries, different continents, different cities, to Canada. So I enjoyed it, and I mean, I learned a ton. I made a huge impact on a global level. So it's a great experience.
And how many people are there between you and Jeff Bezos? Did you ever have a conversation with Jeff Bezos?
I didn't have a conversation with him directly. I've seen him in person. We had a lot of town halls where we actually had town halls where the Seattle Supersonics used to play. So I would see him in Key Arena and he would do his town hall talks.
Yeah.
But as far as me meeting him specifically, personally, I haven't.
You probably don't want to get an email that says call Jeff urgently. It's probably not good news. Anyway, that's great, man. And yeah, the networking stuff, check out Michael's book. It is a superpower, as I said, and Michael has used it successfully in the corporate world. But whatever world you're in, the secrets are the same. And it's a very good resource to check out, I would imagine. And I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of a sneak peek at it. Awesome. Well, thanks very much, Michael V. Morgan.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. All right, Elena, I like your photos, your very professional photos where you're out and about in various picturesque locations. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Yeah, so it actually sounds like Steve and I may do some similar work. I'm a leadership and career coach, so I specialize in professional development with both companies and individual people. So with companies, it's team building, organizational effectiveness, leadership, manager development, things like that. And for individuals, it's helping people usually get into a job that is more fulfilling, whether it's a career change or getting a promotion, just whatever they need to get those next level skills and growth and overall life happiness. But the reason I said I think Steve and I do similar work is I am a master practitioner of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So I'm sure at least Steve has heard of it. But yeah, the submodalities, what does it feel like, sound like, smell like? Well, I don't usually use smell, but but the others, and then the thoughts, what do you say to yourself? So I do that with goal
you
setting.
noticed the some of the words that Steve was using were NLP words, and tell us about what NLP is and how it can be used.
Yeah, so it's probably like less than 50% of people have heard of it, at least that I speak to. So not too many people. The way that I like to explain at a really high level is it's understanding communication with self, with others, and with the world around you. So you need to understand how you process and perceive things, how you then make decisions based off of that, and then how you make decisions in the world and how that affects in other people and the things that you want to get out of life in any context, like Steve rattled them off earlier beautifully. So yeah, then within that, there are lots of different techniques. Some of them are more surface level, just even in conversation that I use in coaching, and a lot of coaches use without, many of you don't know that it's called NLP. But it's great everyday basic skills. And there are also more so deeper therapeutic techniques as well that go much deeper.
Would you say it kind of like focuses on the emotions associated with perhaps a goal that you're after, and then what that would feel like as something that would be a much more realistic way for you to envision how it would feel if you were to achieve it?
Yeah, so that's part of it. And there is a prerequisite to that, which is if the programming of your mind is working against you rather than for you, you can't even get to that place. So the first thing to address is how are you getting in your own way? What are the self-imposed mental roadblocks that you're operating under? And we need to address those first, and then we can do the goal setting, embracing the positive emotions associated with that. So
Awesome. And the people that you work with
exciting.
a lot are people that are feeling a bit stuck in their current role, and they're a bit afraid to break out of it, and maybe they're doing it the wrong way in terms of how they're maybe even looking at jobs. What are some of the mistakes people make, that the people that are thinking of having a big change in career, what are some of the things they're doing wrong that they could improve?
Yeah, so the real first thing that people do wrong is they skip that introductory step that I mentioned. In a very tangible way, this looks like somebody saying, I don't like what I'm currently doing. I want to do something else. And they just head straight to LinkedIn and start searching. They don't do any reflection, introspection, ask, well, what am I going to sit down and search? Am I going to search this because it's what I do, because it's what I'm known for, because it's what I'm pigeonholed in, or what I think I'm pigeonholed in? Or am I going to search things that I think I would be excited by, that I would like to grow in, that I can have a positive impact on the world? And people don't realize that the process is highly psychological before it is strategic. I can give you the best playbook in the world, but again, if you haven't done that introspection before, you may not, and most people aren't in a place to really execute that playbook to its fullest.
Yeah, 100%. Very, very important stuff. And how do people get in touch with you, Elena?
Yeah, so my website there that you've so lovely pulled up, I just launched a course, and it has a group program, a group coaching program attached to it as well. So you can see my website there, get in touch with me there. Lots of good information there. Getting involved in the course would be great to hit all of these steps. Like I said, it's for people that are looking for that next big career breakthrough. I'm on all social media platforms and, LinkedIn, Instagram, all those things. I can share those links with you for the show notes. And then if you're curious as to where you can get started with, again, this introspection that I mentioned, figuring out how to make sure that you're approaching the next job search in the best way, I have a couple of free videos and resources as well that I send to people as a place to get started. So I'll send you those too.
Sounds good. I think I've got most of, or some of them in the show notes. So if you want to reach out to Elena, you can do so. Also, the same for Michael, Morgan, and Steve. Thank you very much for our fantastic guests for coming on and sharing your wisdom. I'm going to wrap things up. See you next time. Bye.